Yes people, what is happening? I am BA, back once again with another reaction in the Rome series. This is now episode 5 of season 1 and it is called The Ram Has Touched the Wall. Last episode, Caesar arrived in Rome and instantly started doing clever strategic shit to get him more allies in the upcoming war against Magnus. Now the first thing he did was approach, I believe they were church people, but it was about doves flying. Now I've been thinking about this week, and we heard earlier that it was either going to be 2 weeks or 6 months, his remaining term. I'm assuming the doves flying signify that his term has been extended to 6 months rather than the 2 weeks. And Caesar had multiple wins this episode because also he managed to get his gold back. Lucius had been caught up to by the team of mercenaries sent by Magnus to retrieve the gold, instantly putting them in danger. And then who arrives being carried by humans in the finest toga known to man? Titus Pulo. Titus and Lucius manage to fight off the mercenaries, but then Lucius convinces him quite easily to return the gold to Caesar. He's like, look, you endangered me and my wife's life, don't you think you should take it back? And Titus, being an honourable dude, was like, okay, cool, I will. And he went back to Caesar, admitted what he had done, and Caesar was cool with him. He didn't kill him or anything. He didn't get much gold as a reward for giving it back, but at least Caesar spared him after having known he had stolen it in the first place. And yeah, the other main thing we saw was this sort of power battle dynamic developing between Brutus's mother and Bull Blood Lady. Bull Blood Lady is Caesar's niece. I still don't know her name. I shouldn't have called her Bull Blood Lady because now I can't get it out of my head. I don't know how long this is going to be her nickname for, but you know, fucking brace yourselves. Anyway, they were both vying for the attention of Caesar now he had returned, and Bull Blood Lady seemed very unhappy he ignored her the majority of that party they were at, and then later had a secret rendezvous with Brutus's mother, who was Caesar's mistress before he went to fight the Gauls, but it's cool to see that he has remained loyal to her also. And the other thing Caesar did was he sent Magnus those terms of peace. Obviously he wants to come across as the peaceful one in this debate to the people of Rome, but he wrote the terms in a way that Magnus would never be able to accept, but the people on the Senate would deem acceptable, thus creating a division in Magnus's ranks. And it basically worked like a charm, even though they knew what he was doing. So yeah, incident after incident in the last episode, Caesar just strategically played his hand perfectly upon his return to Rome. So yeah, I cannot wait to see where it goes from last week's episode, so let's get into it. This is episode 5 of season 1 of Rome. The Ram Has Touched the Wall. Let's check it out and see what it's saying to it. Bruno Heller wrote the entire first season single-handedly. It seems like there was no co-writers so far. Bruno has written the entire thing. Magnus is looking defeated right now.
My dear friend, Gaius.
Always reaching out.
I accept.
The Senate and people of Rome have authorized me to accept.
No way, he's accepting the terms. Well, that is unexpected. I don't even think Caesar was anticipating this.
Good enough.
Good enough. This abject humiliation is good enough.
I wonder why Magnus has chosen to accept it. I guess he just listened to the Senate.
We have money to pay troops.
Yes, but they have and we don't.
Let us cleave to the matter at hand.
I'm still confused. So was that Magnus's gold that Caesar intercepted? Because it seemed like Caesar had no gold as well. Maybe they're both just sort of broke right now due to them having to hand out war chests over the last few years.
It is only by Jupiter's mercy that he has not already put our heads on pikes.
That's the sort of guy you want on your team. If I was Magnus, I would definitely ask him to leave the tent.
Pompey Magnus does not surrender.
I don't think Senate guy likes hearing that. I think he believed Magnus was honestly accepting those peace terms, not just using it to bide himself time to gain a position of power when the war does commence. And I don't think Caesar would be stupid enough to not see that as one of the potential things that could happen. There is no greater tool in conflict than being able to anticipate your enemy's next move.
They say slaves talk of bravery as fish talk of flying.
They say that, do they?
What a cruel thing to say. Allow fish to dream, Caesar. Allow fish to dream.
Julius Caesar has publicly implored the renegade Gnaeus.
Fucking hell, Titus Pulo looks a bit unsure on his feet today.
What are you doing? It's rather fun. There's quite an art to it. Strange boy.
It's what they don't tell you about Augustus, his Da Vinci level toenail art.
Well done. Let's see Sevilla compete with a soft young boy like you.
Is this all this woman thinks about? Just because Augustus has a good relationship with Caesar, she's instantly thinking about it in a strategic political way.
Now, I've invited Caesar and Mark Antony for dinner tonight. We'll be sure you look especially handsome.
His lover.
She assumes Augustus is Caesar's lover. This mum is so fucked up. He has one crazy life just walking through the streets of Rome, does Titus. He looks like he's already spent that 100 coins he got. Do you think Titus is walking around soul-searching like that because he realised that Lucius's wife was cheating last episode when he walked in on them in the house? I wasn't sure if he instantly realised or not.
Morning. Trouble you for some water?
Well, she didn't look happy to see him.
Give some bread. I'll not, thanks. I'm not feeling too well.
Okay, I think he does know.
I don't want another. I want Irene.
You'll be off south after Pompey before long. You can't take us soldiering.
Oh, he was with that woman who was tied up to the cart, wasn't he? He must have really liked her.
And what purpose does she serve?
I just like to look at her. It makes me calm.
He's an absolute teddy bear, Titus Pillow. Easily the most likeable character in this series for me so far.
What's owed, and the girl is all yours.
What's owed? You should be paying me to drink the pond filth you serve here.
Yeah, typical Titus Pillow. She was being held ransom for his bar tab.
I don't want to.
Say again?
I don't want to. It's nice of you to think of it.
But you want a slave.
Why is she being like this? Is she instantly thinking that this woman is going to be some sort of spy for Titus? That's the most threatened facial expression I've ever seen.
If he even suspected anything, he'd go straight to Varenus and tell him, wouldn't he? Of course he would.
Yeah, it's interesting how they've written this, because they've written Titus as not like simple-minded, but the type of guy that is quite brutish, where more subtle things in life might go over his head, but I do think he did realise last episode. It seems like it in a way, by how he was talking at the table there.
Never thought for an instant Pompey would accept such terms.
You think it's a stratagem?
I doubt it.
I thought this might have caught Caesar off guard a little bit. I mean, if you send people terms, one of the possibilities is they do accept, but he purposely wrote it so that they couldn't, and they still did.
Make peace.
In exchange for what?
Peace is its own reward. Snivelry.
I'm with Mark Antony, let's go to fucking war.
If I merely seek legitimacy, why would I not accept such favourable terms?
True. Caesar just comes across like a warlord if he does anything to Magnus now. So I suppose it was actually quite smart on Magnus's behalf to accept these terms.
Refuses to meet me face to face, man to man. He refuses to meet me!
So they're going to say the truce is off just because Magnus didn't show up in person to agree to it.
I've come to sell my stock.
What's wrong with his stock? Wow, that is so fucking horrible to see. That poor kid as well, he was literally in a cell watching all the adults around him die.
The boy will fetch a good price when he's healthy.
What's that? Your father brought him back from Gaul.
Lucius is bringing everybody back to the house today, isn't he?
We've nothing saved.
Don't worry, I will think of something.
If he's doing it simply for profit, it's a bit of a weird choice because to look after the kid will probably cost him as much money in the long run as just selling him. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the way this actress's disposition is. There's just something about her where it feels like she's marked for death. I've never had that feeling about a character before. I don't know why I've got such a feeling of that. I guess also maybe I get that feeling because she is, of course, in a dangerous position being the mistress of Caesar, so there's the potential of Caesar's wife killing her, there's the potential of Caesar's enemies killing her because they know she's Caesar's mistress, there's the potential of just Caesar's side getting ransacked by Magnus's side and her dying, there is the potential of Bullblood woman in some way trying to kill her, there is many ways this poor woman could potentially die. Hopefully I'm wrong because I do like her character.
Every dog in camp knows that Sevilla has unmanned him.
Look at her face. This has completely put her out of the mood, surely. She absolutely hates that woman. Also, we've yet to see Caesar actually spend a night with his wife. She's a very loyal woman is all I'll say, Caesar's wife.
It is not trivium. The Republic is at stake.
Since when do you care about the Republic?
Trivium, stratagem. These words are way cooler than our ones. Can we just swap? Can't we just all agree as a world to swap back? Or would that be a bad stratagem?
How to fight and copulate and skin animals and so forth.
There's plenty of time yet for all that.
His mother is dead set on him being an alpha male.
Hello.
That's it. What extraordinary names these plebs have.
Completely agree. I think again, the names in Rome were dope as fuck. Why did Titus stop being a common name? It's like Titan or Tyrannosaurus.
Water.
Titus Puller will be a good trainer for Augustus as well.
Takes time. I've seen you kill. There's plenty of soldier in you.
True, Augustus has actually already caught a body in this show. I believe it was episode 2.
Graveyards are full of middling swordsmen. Better to be no swordsman at all than a middling swordsman.
That's actually very wise for his age. I've said it multiple times, but I love the way he's written to be incredibly wise for how young he is.
Another man.
Oh. We are speaking of Varenus and his wife, I presume.
I never said that.
He's too smart for his own good, this kid.
Facts are necessary. Without facts, you must remain silent.
Very good advice. Wow. It's nice to see Titus went there to train Augustus, left getting schooled.
I only hesitate because I'm surprised. You was well found.
Yeah, I guess anybody who knows Lucius would be surprised by this. He seems like a very put-together individual, plus he's just returned from an 8-year campaign of plunder in someone else's empire, so he should have a little bit set aside, but no. He tried to flip it with slaves and the product went bad, as horrific as those terms are to put it in.
Hard man. First spear centurion in Caesar's mighty 13th.
I'm no longer in the army.
He would be a really highly sought-after bodyguard, you would assume.
You would come with me to discourage trouble?
Yeah, a deterrent. Muscle, in other words.
Good money.
I don't even know why he's second guessing that decision, because as a soldier, there is one thing you can guarantee if you're at war: you have to fight. Whereas a bodyguard, maybe 1 in 10 times something goes sour, but 9 times you're just chilling. That's kind of a cool, respectful setup, how Caesar's walking on foot in front of his wife who is being carried. Shows the respect he has for his wife. That poor woman on the wall had some work ahead of her.
We do not have wine. Milk, perhaps.
Milk? Run out of piss, did you?
Okay, so straight away, if this meeting turns bad, it's that prick's fault and not these guys he's come to visit, because they were being perfectly nice and he said some rude shit.
I will give you 1/4 price. Out of friendship.
You'll give me every mumping denarius.
Straight away you can tell that this guy hired Lucius because he knew he'd fucking hustled this dude for the pigs. Potentially getting Lucius into some trouble here. I would not work as a bodyguard for this guy.
Break his arm. Break his arm.
Fuck this job. If I was Lucius, I'd just go punch that guy in the face and find another line of work. What's a shame is there's loads of cool guys Lucius could be doing this work for. Straight away he's working his muscle for seemingly an absolute prick of a human being.
What are you doing?
Good on you, Lucius. Oh, I'm so happy Lucius left there. I didn't want to see him start doing that sort of shit. It's not worth the money. And that is just a prime example of the difference being what sort of boss you had. I'm sure he would have loved bodyguard work if he happened to have a nice boss, but because he was hired by an absolute piece of shit scumbag, instantly, obviously, he was put off. Understandably.
How are we to pay the rent? And how are we to feed the children?
I do think he's an intelligent guy and will think of something. He just also seems a bit desperate right now.
South in pursuit of Pompey. And we shall not see each other again.
Huh, so Caesar's never returning to Rome?
Just because of some foolish graffiti.
Servilia, we are done.
I can't believe I said earlier that I feel like she's marked for death, because I've got to say I do believe she might take her own life if Caesar is serious here and never returns to Rome. She seems like she would have no reason to live without Caesar, and it also seemed like Caesar was all she was living for. I don't recognise this actress from anything else, but this is an incredible performance she's given. Jesus Christ, Caesar, you didn't need to slap her 3 times, mate. Once was enough. Imagine breaking up with someone, then slapping the shit out of them after you break up with them and before walking away. That's got to be the harshest way to get broken up with.
If we move fast, Pompey will be eating dust by the Callan.
You'll remain here with the 13th to keep the peace.
Mark Antony doesn't want to stay behind. He wants to be on the front line. Well, if there was ever a very metaphorical piece of footage, I would put Magnus literally stumbling over a rock right up there.
Perhaps you'd like to join me. It's very kind. But I think I will stay here.
Shit, people are starting to abandon Magnus. I've got a feeling this guy will be the first of many. Soon it'll just be Brutus and Magnus.
I do not have a grand, shining old name like you. I must keep my name well polished.
Yeah, you worded it very poetically, but you're still a fucking rat. Here we go, Caesar's emblem is raised. It's very Egyptian looking, the full staff, when you look at it, with the crescent moon and things like that on it. I've got a feeling she's going to be absolutely lost without Caesar.
Soldier!
There's been a theme of keeping soldiers who are whistling in check this episode. He's going to ask for his job back, isn't he?
I wish to accept your offer.
My offer?
I know he offered him those terms at the time, but I don't think he extended it.
Generous offer. One which you declined.
Yeah, he did.
I'm here alone. And I shall need good men.
Oh, that's cool. I know it's not ideal, Lucius returning to the army, but at least he's getting a great job promotion and also good money.
I expect loyalty. Loyalty unto death.
Unto death, sir.
And unfortunately, that's one thing I'm not sure if Lucius is being honest about right now. I think now he's back with his family, he wants to leave all this behind. He doesn't want to die on the battlefield. He did his time and survived already. Conflicted about that scene, but on the plus side, he's just taken a giant pay packet home to the wife, so at least things will be all good there.
Attia's man. Dress me.
Because Brutus's mum is so miserable, she might straight up do something to openly start a war with Attia and thus Caesar. She might even switch sides. Genuinely don't know what she's capable of right now. Hell hath no fury and all that.
Epicati prefect, first grade, 9,000 sesterces. Sold myself to a tyrant.
If she understands the subtleties of what this man has been going through, I hope she feels a little bit of guilt about this, because if she'd have pressured him less, he would have found something else and also not put himself back in that position in the army. But because of her pressure, I feel like he just instantly went back to take that because it was guaranteed to him, even though he does not want to do it. But shit, the same can be said in 99% of all job havers in the world, so he's no different than the rest of us, I guess. It's just his one can end in death. Ours can end in, like, boredom or self-hatred. If I was the blacksmith of that shield, I would be furious to see that twat just smacking his sword off my beautifully crafted and painted finish.
With this offering, I ask you to summon Tyche, Megara, and Nemesis.
Oh my god, she's bringing demons into it.
I curse Gaius, Julius, Caesar.
I think Apollo already beat you to this, you know.
I offer to you his limbs. His head.
See, this is why I don't fuck witches.
Curse Attia of the Julii. Let dogs rape her.
Oh my god. I mean, I hate Attia as well, but you can't wish dog R-word on people.
Her limbs, her head, her mouth, her breath.
This is potentially the single most hateful speech I have ever heard in any movie or television show. This woman is fucking seething.
Tell us what's between you and Niobe.
Maybe. Nothing. Never.
He's kidnapped the guy. Well, this is one good way to get the truth.
I was crying, if you want to know the truth, and Niobe commiserated with me.
I've got a feeling Augustus is going to know if he's lying as well.
He says you're lying.
I thought so.
We know you're lying. We know it. You understand?
People would assume that Titus is quite dumb, but he's actually quite a genius because he knew to bring Augustus along because he would see through any sort of charade.
Tortured anyone. I don't know how.
You don't know how?
They have specialists.
What a horrific job to have in the Roman Empire, a torture specialist.
Cut off his thumbs.
Damn! This is a completely unexpected, brutal scene. Augustus does not fuck around. Imagine Titus Pullo has been at war with Gauls for 8 years, comes back to Rome and learns how to torture people from a child.
The child is mine.
Child? What child?
Lucius.
Ah, shit. So now Titus knows absolutely everything. This is gonna be so tense as to whether or not Titus just tells him everything or not. And what a loyal friend Titus is, like going and shanking the dude that was fucking his boy's wife. I absolutely love Titus, man. Titus Pullo for president. And rest in peace the actor. Great actor portraying this character as well. I thought I hadn't seen him in anything else before, but I believe he was in The Irishman or Kill the Irishman, which was a good movie. It's funny because I just caught myself. I was about to say these Roman religious-esque rituals were quite weird before Christianity showed up. But it's only because the rituals within Christianity have been normalised to me through growing up in the West. And in actual fact, if I'd have grown up with that Roman, blood getting smeared down the centre of my face thing, I would look at Christian rituals as stranger. It's just a different weird ritual.
Crumble. May their cattle and women be taken.
That answers the question as well. He's more classic rocker mohawk rather than mech anime samurai sideways mohawk. It's been playing on my mind all week which one he was gonna get.
They've sailed for Greece.
Oh, Magnus has fled for Greece. And then they just end the episode. Wow, okay. Okay, and that was episode 5 of season 1 of Rome. The ram has touched the wall, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, the ram has touched the wall. What did I think of that? I'm gonna go straight out and say it, like, so far, for some reason, this feels like it might be my favourite show I've reacted to on this channel. And that's almost sacrilegious to say, because there's been legendary thing after legendary thing that I've been lucky enough to watch. From Tales from the Crypt, to The Wire, to True Detective, Deadwood, The Last of Us. It's all been amazing, but I just guess personally, for me, there's something about this show that is just resonating with me, and the way these scenes are written, and this guy Bruno Heller's writing. And also, like I said, the thing that appealed to me from episode 1 was the cloak and daggery, sneaky, backstabbery, politicking side of it, which was the same thing really that made Game of Thrones as big as it was. Like at the end there was lots of battles and dragons, but the seasons which people rate the highest are the ones which were more centred around the stuff I'm talking about, which Rome has and does brilliantly. And because of that, it's just keeping me personally absorbed on a level where I feel like so far it's grabbing me like nothing else I've watched on this channel yet has. Now that is incredibly premature to say, we are only 5 episodes in, but that just shows you how highly I've rated and how much I am enjoying these first 5 episodes. And regarding the episode, I felt so bad for Lucius first of all. He genuinely seemed like all he wanted was to live a peaceful life now he'd left the military, go back to his family, just make money through trade, and that would be him. He's done his time and now he can relax and live a peaceful life. And so firstly, we saw the remainder of his finances crumble when he went to see his slaves, and almost all of them had died except one. And on top of that, he had the feeding fee, which he needs to sell the last remaining kid who was in the slave pen, which is a horrific phrase to be a thing when you think about it, but yeah, he needs to sell that kid to pay off the feeding fee of the slaves, even though whatever the fuck he was feeding them, they died. I'm not saying it was the food's fault, but it didn't fucking keep them alive, did it? So yeah, it was just one thing after another for Lucius, which led his wife to pressure him, which of course led him to decide to reconsider the offer which Mark Antony made to him to rejoin the military and get a promotion, a good wage, etc. So he goes to Mark Antony, and Mark Antony, after a little little bit of ball breaking, takes him back in, but basically says, don't you ever betray me again. So that's him. Wherever Mark Antony needs him, on a battlefield, at war, he has to be there. So the civilised, chilled out, peaceful life which he was craving is now basically evaporated before his very eyes. And what a cruel 5-episode story arc it's kind of been for Lucius. And he's appeared as many things to me already, but never someone who I thought I would be that sympathetic for, but I truly felt for him this episode. And that's on top of course, the elephant in the room regarding his wife and not his son, which, by the way, the legend of Titus Pulo continues to grow for me. He has got to be my favourite character in this show thus far. It was just another episode of him doing dope shit. First of all, he was walking around jaded, and at first I wasn't sure if it was just him having spent the money that Caesar rewarded him for giving back the gold and, you know, just walking off a hangover essentially, or if he had realised that Lucius's wife was cheating on him. But then we saw him trying to teach Augustus to fight, and afterwards he sat down and had a heart-to-heart with him about the situation. Augustus, as always the wise little shit, offered great advice, and he was like, yeah, well, you probably need evidence first, and this led Titus to literally just kidnap the husband and interrogate him, with Augustus at his side being able to see through all the bullshit and lies and giving him torture advice. But yeah, it led to the truth fully coming out. So now Titus knows 100% she was cheating on him and the kid is not Lucius's. What's fucked up from here is, does he tell him? Does he not? If he tells him, I mean, I'd like to think he's not just going to turn around and slay his not son and wife, but who knows what someone will do when hearing that news when they believe the kid to be theirs. He will at least be fucking furious, I know that. But that being said, he does deserve to know the truth. I just hope he just peacefully goes, okay, cool, I'm out, you enjoy your life, the kid's not mine, I get it, bye. I'll tell you one thing she's not going to do, she's not going to get back with that other guy because Titus finished him the fuck off, officially cementing his position as the most loyal and dope friend of all known time. And the other main thing was, Magnus surprisingly in the opening scene agreed to Caesar's terms of peace. He was doing it as a stratagem, of course, to bide himself time to get himself in a more powerful position for when the war commenced. Caesar knew he was probably doing it as some sort of stratagem or something like that, so he wasn't for it, so he found the technical loophole of the fact that Magnus did not agree to the terms of peace in person to render it null and void, and then he said fuck it, we're marching south and catching up with Magnus. Now this led to Caesar talking to Brutus's mother and saying it was going to be the last time he was going to see her and they were over. Now, as I've said, this woman seems to singularly live solely for Caesar's love and to love Caesar, and to hear that just completely destroyed that woman, and she cursed both Caesar and Attia with the most horrific sounding curse I've ever heard in my life, by the way. Like I said while I was watching it, that was some of the most seethingly hateful, furious, from the pits of hell, everlasting, absolute despising of an individual speech I've ever heard. Yeah, pound for pound, put that shit at the top of the list. She fucking hated them, and she wanted the demons to know, as she summoned them, just how hateful she was to the people which she had cursed. And then to finish off the episode, Caesar gets south only to realise that Magnus and his remaining people have fled to Greece. So I do not know what he's going to do from here. Is he going to rally ships and go after him to Greece? Is he going to go back to Rome? In which case it's going to be a kind of awkward conversation between him and Brutus's mother, and especially from her side I feel, after the you know, hateful witchcraft and cursing and all that. Kind of a hard thing sometimes to get over as friends. Just another great episode, and I cannot wait for next week. Straight up, I am loving this show. If you've liked this video, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, ring the bell to be notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below and share this around to anyone you think might appreciate it or want to watch these reactions along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog, you get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to. So consider becoming a patron, it helps me and my channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA, peace.